Welcome to Full Sail Partners quarterly webinar series. My name is Sarah Ganella. I'm the VP of Marketing and Business Development, and I'm also a CRM consultant at Full Sail Partners. We have a full house today. We actually have an exceeded capacity with today's topic of Get the Work Done, Tackling Project Management to Improve the Bottom Line. Full Sail Partners is dedicated to providing free educational and thought leadership content to help project-based clients and also prospective clients. And we focus on growing, planning, evaluating, and maximizing your business. Be sure to check out our quarterly webinars, which is what we have today. We also have quarterly white papers and case stories. We also provide blog and videos focused on various topics related to your business. Our Deltek Vision content is focused on helping your firm continuously learn more about the software, and we also provide content focused to help professional services firms move ahead of the competition. Each month this information is shared in our monthly newsletter, so if you don't receive it, be sure to contact me to subscribe. And here is also some examples of some of those resources that have been made available over the last month. So let's get started. We have two presentations today. The first half of today's presentation is on project management best practices, and the second half will build upon those best practices and focus on utilizing technology to get the work done. Our first presenter is Gina Aboudi, the owner of Aboudi Consulting. She is a co-author of The Complete Idiot's Guide to Best Practices for Small Businesses. She was honored as one of the Power 50 for PMI. Gina assists firms with project and process management, strategic planning for small businesses, and business impact and ROI, as well as management, leadership, and development of strategic learning and training programs.
So what we're going to do today is look at a simple four-step phase process for better managing your projects. And when we go through this process and we follow these steps, you'll find that you will increase the success of your projects overall. You'll be able to much more effectively communicate, engage, and even more importantly, manage your stakeholders, motivate and engage your project team members, and effectively manage project changes. And not just changes to the project, but also manage people's expectations around change. So let's look at those four phases. The four phases are define, plan, implement, and close and evaluate. And there are certain deliverables in each of these phases. One of the things I do in this initial define phase is I start to think about what my risks are to the project. And I will tell you the first two risks that go on my list are the timeline and the budget for the following reasons. I don't know enough about the project. It's really difficult for me to tell you that the budget you gave me is going to work and the timeline I'm going to be able to meet. I can't do that until I understand enough about the project. This is why it's really important to start having good conversations with your stakeholders and in getting them engaged, because you want to be able to have this conversation if a timeline and budget is not reasonable. But you also want to be able to manage it, because often what we hear from executives is, it's the timeline we have to meet, it's the budget you have, make it work. By having these conversations, we can better manage that whole process. I consider planning my official kickoff of the project, but this is also my official kickoff of the project team, and I separate those as two distinct events. Don't forget, when we're managing projects, we're really working with individuals who we can tell what to do, when to do, and when to do it. They don't report to us, so we need to influence them. And it's much easier to influence people to get what you need done when you start to establish relationships with them. You get to know them, and they get to know you. So I want to walk away from this phase with a well-defined plan to move forward with the project. So well-defined that when somebody joins the project in the middle of it, another team member, I can hand them this documentation, they understand what we're doing and how we're doing it. Phase 3, implement, is really sort of the meat of the project. Here is where you're executing the project. You're monitoring it. You're controlling it. You're using all of that documentation, all of those processes you set up during planning to manage the project from day to day. And here I want to ask three simple questions. What went well? What could we have done better? And what else do we want to share with each other? And I want to have this lessons learned, this last closeout meeting. I want to do this in conjunction with my team, my sponsor, and other key stakeholders.
Brian is a professional software consultant with Full Sail Partners. He has a technical consulting background and provides guidance to help firms increase efficiency and gain real-time visibility throughout their firm's operations.
Picking up on where Gina left off with defining, planning, implementing, and the close and evaluate phase, we're going to quickly get into some tools within the Deltek Vision suite of applications for doing that. What I wanted to talk about first, though, is the idea that project management is not an all or nothing proposition. What we find with many firms utilizing Vision, the return on investment doesn't start, at 100%. It starts somewhere where maybe the system began as a back office system, as a legacy product from Deltek, Deltek Advantage or FMS or Semaphore or another system. But generally, those systems all started in the back office and handled accounting functions. And many firms have not moved much beyond that. The kind of first step as a firm progresses with their project management acumen is to, at least manage, what they spent against the fee. And we'll talk about tools for that. And as firms move farther along and manage more of the project, they will get into budgeting and then some scheduling and ultimately, a full ERP such as Deltek Vision Planning. I'll take an example here where we simply set up an opportunity to do a very large project, a project with a $5 million fee. It's a biotechnology lab that we think will take, up to 5 years to build. And we have a $5 million fee for architectural and engineering services for that project. And obviously before I get that contract awarded, I might have spent some time trying to define a work breakdown structure or to identify the deliverables and to start thinking about dates and do some rudimentary planning. I may have estimated the revenue over time. And we have tools within the Opportunity Info Center for doing that. So we have, a service estimating tool, and of course we also have a revenue allocation tool where we can decide to take that $5 million fee and kind of allocate that to the phases and start thinking about what those dates might be. That instead of taking a project and saying, gee, it's a $5 million fee and it's spread over 5 years and we hope to be done, we're breaking it into more manageable components. And all we have now is an opportunity, but what we might do is create a project from this opportunity. So how we can initiate that project here is actually do a new project, and we could create that project rather than just from scratch like this, create the project from an opportunity and a project template. You'll see that I took an opportunity which simply identified the owner and the fee, and I did some service estimating, but now I've actually created a work breakdown structure that might lend itself to more project management. So, and you see, I took the time here to allocate that fee and spread it across all the phases and tasks of the project. So at least I'm in a position now that I can manage what my contract is with a work breakdown structure, and I could at least track actuals at that level, my timesheets, my consultant expense vouchers, against what we have budgeted, what our fee budget is. So in Gina's step 2, we haven't done much of the planning, and this is where Navigator can really take us to that next level of project management. And what Navigator is a project management tool that allows me to see my active projects and to do some planning for these projects. So now I define my timelines. So the first step would be to take pre-design. And I've broken that into tasks in this particular work breakdown structure. And right at this level, I would go ahead and fill in my start and end dates. And I can also, at this point, start planning resources. So I could come down to programming, for example. And I could decide I'm going to add some resources to this. I've done this in code analysis. Now you notice I wasn't able to do that because I have to check this plan out of Vision. So I've done that, and now when I come down to programming, I can press the plus sign, and I can select some resources for this task. Application also allows us to predict where we'll end up. All we have to do is maintain the future hours. We can also plan for consultants. So in addition to the internal resources, I can start deciding where I'm going to use consultants, and I can assign them here. Along the project process, there is a collaboration tool. We have, in addition to making Navigator available to all Vision users, Deltek has set up a website called Kona, exactly for project coordination. And that allows us to set up spaces for this project and assign membership to the group and communicate information about this project to all of the stakeholders, including owners, consultants, and outside resources. Sarah, if you'd like to chime in here and talk a little bit about Kona, I think that would be helpful before I move on. Sarah is our expert on social media.
You can click on the Task tab. Yeah. You'll see, for example, all of these tasks are different things that have been set up. So it can be from the beginning of the sales life cycle on through the project. So the information that you were expecting from your sub-consultants to be able to do the proposal, and then also the information that you need in order to do a presentation and an interview. You can set up different groups, so only certain people can see information. So for example, in this particular space, some of these things only the internal team members of a particular group as well as the sub-consultants can see the information. And then as you start to progress through the project, then you might be adding the client in on the conversation or allow them to be able to see specific things. And here under the files, you can add in those different files so you have one place that you can talk and share information. This has an IM aspect where you can click and have a one-on-one conversation on the fly as people are in Kona and have either a conversation that you put a comment out there, or you can have an immediate conversation with someone. You can also take it and take the events and task information and see that information in Outlook. So there's also integration into other things like Dropbox and Box and Google Docs, Outlook. So there's a lot of cool functionality with it.
Navigator is also a complementary application for those who have resource planning. It doesn't replace resource planning, it rather works with it. This is our look across all of our plans, whether they're Navigator plans or Vision plans, so folks with resource planning, can take it to the next level.
We hope you enjoyed the highlight reel of our webinar. Be sure to visit our website for more on-demand videos by Full Sail Partners.